Fascinating, but I'm also interested in knowing about your poetry. When did you start writing poetry?
I started, I don't know, when I was a child. I was very, very young. I've always been writing. I think 7 years old or 8 years old, and I started because it was a way for me to express myself, and it was the best way for me, I guess.
When you were a child, what were you writing about?
My poetry changed over the years. So first I wrote about nature, a lot about nature, and about my relationship as a child with adults and with the world. I think I wanted power in a way, and it was a sort of a revenge to write. It was also about nature and about magic we can see in nature. That was very important for me. And then I started to write with my voice as a I, as a single person, which I didn't want before that. Before that, I think I was more in a global way of writing, which I was part of something. I was part of the world. I was part of nature. And then I wrote about identity. When I was about 16 or something. And now I evolved a bit. My writing is more about women, about what it means to be a woman and to be someone connected. And I come back to the idea of connection with the world, I think, and with nature is still a great part of my writing. And obviously, being in a place of marvelous treasures is very important. But what is important now is more the research of the connection between the words, the meaning, the words, and the sound it makes, and what people get from it, really.
What language do you write your poetry in?
I write mainly in French. I write as well in Spanish. I wrote in Spanish because Spanish is a language of the earth. I love it. I love Spanish. And I love English as well. I wrote some stuff in English, but still I want to explore a bit more English language, but mainly in French and a bit in Spanish, yeah.
Do you feel like sometimes different languages influence whatever language you're writing the poetry in, the way the words sound and maybe the musicality of language as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I thought a lot about, if you are a different person or not, or if you think differently from a language to another, or if you express yourself in a different way when you speak another language. I think basically, you're still the same person, but but you express yourself differently and it's perceived differently, I think, on the audience. And that's very interesting, and that's why I love mixing as well the languages. This is also interesting with the Creole part, because you have expressions that is very, very Creoles that you can put in a text and then put another part of a text in another language. And then it creates another sound and another intention that you couldn't have in just one language.